everyone, welcome to DOdaily Thursday Thoughts. It's Des here with this week's live question and answers. Looking forward to getting stuck into those. The usual format, the throwback, this week's viewer questions, my honest and humble opinion, I hope, and then a new throwback and a chance to look forward to the end of the week. It's been a really good week. Always start on a Thursday by talking about how I'm feeling. Feeling really positive right now. Lots of things to do. Lots of things keeping me busy and occupied. Lots of different thought processes running through my head. But it's not getting to me to know all the things I'm doing to combat that, particularly the activity. I won't get too much into that just yet because I have just looked through the questions and there is one focused on activity. Despite all that, feeling really good, really on top of things, and it's taken a few weeks to get back here, but the more I do, the more things that I'm ticking off, and the more decisions I make, things are just feeling that little bit better. So that's a great place to be on a Thursday as I start looking forward to the weekend, processing what's gone off in the week. I use Thursday and Friday, of course, through DOdaily to do that. It's a great place to be looking back on a good one and hopefully to be making it an even better weekend. Always look forward to the weekends regardless. Thursday, in many ways, this episode feels like a bit of a turning point. It feels like the start of the weekend, even though I've got Friday to do. If I can feel that positive weekend vibe already, that's not a bad thing, is it? So once I've done this, it's almost like I'm starting to wind down, take a few things off, get a few jobs done, and then settle down for the things I really enjoy in life. And that's what I'm looking forward to again. When I'm in this kind of frame of mind, that's where I'm at. Of course, I'll start, as I always do. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. That'd be absolutely fantastic. And if you like this episode or understand what I'm trying to do here, please give it a thumbs up. What I am trying to do is just offer some different insight into different subjects throughout the week. I'll talk about the way I'm feeling with a focus on mental health and encouraging activity, two subjects that I'm particularly passionate about and want to drill a bit of a message over of how my life's changed as soon as I took stock of it, and talk about it as I do here, and try and in many ways be a little bit of an advocate of these things because these are the things I believe in. So it's just an honest and relatable take on things as I see them on a Thursday. It's what I mentioned before. The question and answers gives people the chance to interact. If you've got any comments, I'd love you to get involved. That would be absolutely fantastic. Say hello, ask me a question, put me on the spot. That's what it's all about. Tend not to look at these questions too much. I've had a quick glance over tonight, but don't look too much at them. Don't think too much about them before I read them out again. It's nice. So like I said, just a chance for people to interact before on a Friday. I look to wind things off, really sum things up, and use getting up early to get out for a walk and be positive even more about what I'm doing. When we're up early, when we're attacking the day, it always feels like we're a little bit of ahead of the game, doesn't it? And that's a great place to be, especially after a fantastic week. Comment here for me. Really appreciate you watching. Hello, Des. Hope you're well. I've been exercising this week, and a couple of people that have said, I'm looking slimmer. Will you be at the Wolves game? I will be at the Wolves game, and it's fantastic that you're exercising again, isn't it? I'm getting the same kind of thing as well, Eve. Do you know what? People, even though I do it all the time, I'm probably doing more than I have been, and people are making comment, and it's a nice thing, isn't it? It's just a nice place to be. So thanks for the comment. Like Eve, if you want to comment, if you want to get involved, please do it in the live feed. If you're watching after, I am actually pitting myself up against the football right now. So bit of bad planning in that sense. But I understand England have went, well, I do know because I've been looking in myself. That's probably what's delayed me a little bit. England are winning 2-0. If there's any change to that whilst I'm on, please do let me know. But this is what I do. This is what I'm passionate about. I'll catch up with the football, just popping in half time. Hopefully I can not miss too much. and I always watch plenty of that anyway. So this is what Thursdays are about for me. It's important for me to do it. Been speaking a lot recently about DOdaily and how I need to get back into sort of processing my thoughts every day, into the good routines, working off those daily motivations. And with those other reasons, that's why I do it. Feeling particularly strong, using them to build up my own sort of activity levels, build up my own spirit. And when I can do that, hopefully people can draw a little bit of inspiration and do it from there. This week I've been on every night, doing what I do. And if you watch what I do, it's not a straightforward ride. I've spoken a lot about activity this week, my running especially. It is a real passion of mine. And I've spoken a lot about how I'm getting so much from it, but it's not been that straightforward. Again, I'll come back to that shortly. Let's just whiz through this throwback from last week. What's your favourite non-bank holiday celebration? This was something that was posed to me. Mine, I guess, is I was going to say Christmas then, but Christmas is a bank holiday celebration, isn't it? It's the London Marathon, I think. It's such an inspirational time for someone who runs, to whether I'm there, whether I'm running it, which I will be this year. I'll come to that very shortly. Whether I'm spectating, which I've done in recent years, or whether I'm just watching it on the TV, which I've not actually had the pleasure of doing whilst it's live. But it's such a TV event, one of the big TV events of the year. So that's probably my favourite. A couple of guys offered some feedback to me. Dawn says my favourite is Robin Marathon Weekend. Such a great day running and partying afterwards. That's what we do here in Nottingham. That's how we do it for the Do Running. The group I lead here in Nottingham. So it's always a fantastic occasion. And so many people come together to do it at once. It's brilliant when you can do things like that together. Phil says, I love Halloween. It's a great excuse to do fancy dress as an adult. Absolutely, Phil. Not a massive fancy dress fan myself. Kay says, I love anything where we show appreciation to those we love, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, etc. It's nice to spoil people. Absolutely. I've made a few comments around this. I'm glad this has come up because I'm kind of going to turn this a little bit into a question. Not a question, but something I'm going to comment on. Last week it was International Women's Day, and I made a point of putting a post out there. There's some special people in my life who do a lot to support me, to encourage me. And in reality, the 4 people I mentioned probably support me more than any other male. And people might scoff at that and look at it and go, oh, why is it International Women's Day? What's the need for this? What's the need for celebration? Like cases here with Valentine's Day, people scoff and often say, oh, well, don't you feel like that every single day? Yes, but these things act as a really timely reminder sometimes, don't they? Because we can all get a little bit complacent and a little bit forgetful of what people do for us. When it becomes normality, people take each other for granted, don't they? We're all a little bit guilty of it. So I think it's important to remember these occasions. It was Mother's Day, of course, just a few days ago, lots of posts. And again, there's those that look on and it affects them for different reasons, but we've got to find the positives. I saw a lot of posts saying that people shouldn't celebrate Mother's Day and what they do because not all mothers are there. My dad died when I was 9, but it doesn't make me feel that people shouldn't celebrate their dads. It's just one of those things, isn't it? We've got to find the positive in the situation and the meaning for why it's there, not find reasons why we should do it any other day. That's just my personal opinion. I think this is I felt I needed to offer it there. Like I say, going back to that International Women's Day, I wanted to celebrate. I mentioned 4 people. I wanted to celebrate those people because in reality, like I say, they're probably the 4 people who I take so much from. I've not got males who do the same thing, and it's probably the males who scoff. It was interesting. I try not to look at who comments and who likes too much, but we all do. Let's make no bones about it. And it was all women who liked it. And I thought, that's interesting, isn't it? That in this day and age, men can't bring themselves around to say that, but that's my personal opinion. A lot of people don't support what I do here, but that's fine, and if they don't support these things, that's fine. But I just think these things are there to be celebrated, and I think it's important that we do such things. So it's a really good point there, Kay. Really appreciate that post, and it just got me thinking a little bit. Just a few comments. Here's one. It's International Puppy Day today. Our Stan should be making an appearance. He won't. He's out for a walk at the moment with Kay. But again, just another nice little thing, isn't it? I might stick a picture up of him, or something like that. It's been a little bit of a pain in the bum today. Got me into trouble in one or two places. But we absolutely love him to bits. And like any day, if you follow me on social media, it doesn't really matter what day it is. I'll post and do things, but it's great when we can celebrate such occasions. So thanks for the comment, Dawn. Couple more comments. I'll come back to those a little bit later. Some good stuff coming in from Eve. So moving that forward into the questions. I've been speaking a lot about activity. Thank you to all those who responded there. All that throwback is just a light-hearted way, like I say, of sharing a little bit of information. Gets me thinking, talking. I've just mentioned my opinions on that, and that's all I'm trying to do. Be honest. Some of that might not go down too well, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And I just feel like this gives me opportunity to pass a few sort of my idealisms on. It's not going to be everybody's idealism. It's not going to be what they think, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And again, like all I'm trying to do here is just offer a different perspective at times to show that ultimately we can find a way to be positive about any situation. So really appreciate that. Just popped up my social media links, by the way, if you want to follow me across any of that, the DOdaily stuff, the Do Running stuff as well. The running groups here in Nottingham, there's a lot of inspirational stuff in there, the DOdaily stuff. I've got links to the social media, and then my own personal stuff. If you want to follow me, don't hide behind an egg or anything like that, or a stupid name on Instagram. It is what it is, this mug, plenty of pictures of me doing activity, doing the things I enjoy. If you don't like it, don't follow it. But if you do want to give it a follow, it's just at Des Oldham, and I'd appreciate anyone that does. Love social media, make no bones about it. So again, it's just a great thing to do. Kay says Stan didn't get you into trouble. Playing football in the house did. Well, on that occasion. There has been other occasions where he's dropped me in it today, as you well know, Kay, but I got in trouble this morning for breaking a glass, kicking the dog's ball around. But I forgot about that. It seems a long time ago now. It's been a busy day. So there we go. That's just me being stupid with a puppy. But again, like I say, we absolutely love it. So yeah, getting into those questions, I flicked up very briefly there. Question one, it's 1 month today until the London Marathon. What do the next 31 days look like for you? This comes from Michelle. A lot of hard work, a lot of effort in terms of training. I'm not going to be in the place I want to be with the London Marathon. I've made no bones about that for the last couple of months. I'd started the new year well, picked up an illness. Possibly could have been COVID, although I didn't test positive for it. Picked up an illness, which seemed to last, and that's why I say it might have been COVID. It seemed to linger around for 3 weeks, and it really set me back. Don't get me wrong, before that, I wasn't in the best place I could have been. But those 3 weeks, the way I'm feeling right now, the positivity that's coming out of me would have been really, really important if I could have felt like this 3 weeks ago. Taking it forward with another 7 weeks, that would have been... it would have given me a lot more confidence. So whilst I'm not going to do it well, I'm going to keep chipping away at it. And I'm almost just going to go out there and enjoy it. I spoke lots of times about wanting to achieve things at these big events, wanting to get good times, and for my own personal satisfaction, not to compete with anyone or because it's the be all and end all, but it's nice to do these things well when you put a lot of effort in. But this one, I've said it a lot of times, and I've never really done it when I've gone into one. I'm going to go and pick my head up a little bit, enjoy it. I'm really finding the love for my running right now. For as much as I spoke about it through DOdaily, for as much as I've got running groups here in Nottingham, I work around it. I talk about it all the time. Post on social media about it. That connection with me and running it's not been right. It's whilst I love it, it's a bit of a love-hate relationship at times, and I've really, really struggled. What is really pleasing is tonight, and again, I put words out there to this effect that I've had a bit of a tough session tonight. Ran 11 miles on Sunday, furthest I've done for a while. Ran 10k last night, feeling really, really tired. Went out to do a bit of a session tonight, and I struggled. Felt tired, felt lethargic. My legs felt heavy, felt a bit low on sugars, and it was just one of those that was really tough. Cold, wet, turgid running, but it all matters at the end of the day. And 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have got out there and done it. I said this to the guys I was doing it with. It would have been one of those tough ones which wouldn't have just not happened on the day. It would have probably knocked me back a week. I'd have lost a bit of confidence and motivation. But today, I did it. 4 miles, 4 horrible, horrible miles. But when I'd done it, I felt fantastic. I don't feel great in terms of the tiredness and things like that, but I felt mentally feel fantastic. I actually come home and did my plank. I'm currently in the midst of a 30-day planking challenge, trying to build up to 500 seconds, which is 300 seconds in 30 days, which is 5 minutes, of course. Planking is really, really hard. At whatever time of the day you do it, it's really hard. And very sort of measly efforts to start out. 11 days ago, I started on 63 seconds. I'm up to, what was it? 118 now. So nearly doubled that. So again, it's just showing little bits of progress. But at the start of my run, I had no intentions of doing all this. I didn't know how the run was going to turn out. Felt a bit lightheaded during it. Was careful enough just to cut it short a little bit after some plans I had made. So it was just it was just right in the end. The distance, the level of activity, and then the fact it did pick me up a little bit to come home and do that. And then I feel good that I've done everything before I come on DOdaily, and once I've done, I can settle back in. So again, it's what I'm getting to is, and if I link this back to the question, is the next 31 days are going to be hard. Days like today, the weather's not great in training for spring marathons. I've not been in a fantastic place recently, but I'm absolutely loving it. So if I can just keep dragging myself off the sofa, chucking my trainers on, getting out the front door, doing what I need to do, using the people around me to keep doing it, running groups, coaching sessions that I do here as well. It's all going to come together ultimately, isn't it? So whilst lots of hard work, bit of fundraising as well. If you want to get behind that, I'll post a link to the fundraising in the comments. I'd really, really appreciate any support I can get. That would be amazing. So those two, training for a marathon and fundraising, almost become a part-time job. I always say this. So on top of all the busyness I feel that I've got right now, it's more effort, but it's all worth it in the end. It's all really, really worth it. Once I cross that line, whether it's 4 hours or 8 hours, I'm sure it'll be somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's gone before. You've done what you've done. I've done these things. I'll have done them quicker. I'll have had that kind of achievement. I'll plan to do them again. I plan to build up over the year. This is what I've been searching for so long. This feeling of really wanting, really loving my activity again, doing it with a smile on my face, enjoying the different when I'm on my own, enjoying it when I'm with friends, enjoying it when it's tough, enjoying the ones that I plan to sort of enjoy, because it don't always work like that. And it's nice just to have this feeling with it, and it's put me in such a good place. But as I touched on before, if you've watched any DOdaily this week, and I know I've banged on a lot about the running, this hopefully is a bit more than running at times, and things can be relatable and transferable into different situations. But if you watch it, I've been up and down with it. Monday, pleased to back up my 11 miler with a a solid sort of 5K coaching, supporting one of the guys in the coaching session. But then Tuesday, I felt I needed a rest. Whilst I was comfortable with that decision on Tuesday, on Wednesday, it just started eking away at me a little bit, and I thought, I can't miss it again. I can't miss it again. And again, that's the sort of roller coaster of emotions you have with this kind of thing when you really get into it in the way I am. So it's a tough one sometimes, but it's really important. Comment there from Ian says it was a tough one, conditions during the run tonight, but we smashed it, absolutely. And again, thanks to Ian for sort of helping me get through tonight, whilst technically I'm the coach. We're all working off each other, we're all supporting each other and trying to do whatever we can to get to a better position. So it's important in that sense, just to keep that feeling going and just to work off all the positives. As I always say in any situation, for me, this tonight especially, Tuesday and having a rest day and then getting back on it, it was like a little hurdle overcome. And that's how tonight's felt, because like I say, a couple of weeks ago, I just wouldn't have even done that one. And I'd have found excuses. I felt I had genuine excuses today, but I found a way to sort of overcome it and really just get a few more miles in the legs. And when you're training for a marathon, whichever way you do it, it's got to happen. So back to the question, really good one, really sort of relates into where I'm at right now. Just a lot of hard work, good runs, bad runs, planning runs, thinking about the day. But what an occasion it is, and what a special thing. I mentioned at the top of the episode about when we was looking at that throwback, about how special it is, and it really is. People get a little bit obsessed with it at times, which is fine, if that's the way they do it. I've done it. But again, it doesn't matter. Once you cross that finish line, once you get past a certain point of pain and torture and your head's gone with it, it's just about getting over that line. And once it's done, it's done. And it's another medal around your neck. It's another T-shirt to be proud to wear, And then you look at whatever you're going to do next, because it's important as well, isn't it, to enjoy the process. And that's what I think I'm really taking right now. I'm enjoying the process of what I do again. And it's hard sometimes when your head's not in the right place, when uncontrollable things affect you, like injury and illness. It's hard to enjoy the process. But right now, I feel I'm getting fitter, stronger, losing a bit of weight. Not quite as much as I want, but I'm actually getting there, and that's really important. So more of the same is the short. I could have answered that a lot quicker, couldn't I, as I said that from the outset. But no, more of the same, and thanks for the question. Nicely actually leads into question 2. Not sure who posted this. How will you make the most of the extra daylight after the clocks change at the weekend? Always a nice time of the year for runners. And somebody who leads a running group. We enjoy running in the daylight. I don't mind going out on cold, wet nights when I'm feeling good about it. Not like tonight when I really didn't want to do it, but I don't mind going out. But it gets a bit repetitive, and it's just a little bit harder. It's wet, and there's traffic and noise and things like that. In the light, we can get into some nicer places around the river, into the woods and the country parks and things like that. So it's always quite a nice time of the year. With the running groups, we tend to revert back to a river route, which I don't feel safe during the winter. Lots of the guys love it. It becomes traffic free. In the winter, we have to run around the suburban streets, and for those reasons I just said, it doesn't take anything away from it in a way, but it adds so much to it when you can do it in a nicer environment. Running around the River Trent, as I tend to take advantage of in the daylight, there's much nicer things to see, the sunsets, particularly in the first few weeks of the clock's change. So really looking forward to making the most of it in that sense. The biggest thing right now I really want to take from it is getting up early on Friday morning. I've been moaning, and it's affected me, all these cold, dark, wet mornings, and it's given me a reason not to get out there and film the episode as early as I want to, or get out for my morning walk. But when it gets to that height of summer, I'm out there at 5:30, getting my walks in, getting a longer walk in before the day. And I take so much from that. Those endorphins get flowing, get some really amazing pictures, and I like to post those up on my social media. So that's the thing I'm really looking to make the most of, is the extra daylight in the morning. Tends to wake me up a little bit better as well. Always bemoaning my sleep patterns and how I don't sleep very well and can't get up in the morning, but it helps wake me up. So Fridays are great for that, and it helps me get into that little bit better routine. So really looking forward to that. It's all around my activity for me, but it's just a bit nicer as well, isn't it? When we can go for a walk, or we can go to a pub and sit in a beer garden, or we're looking forward to taking the dog out in the evening. At the moment we're stuck in a routine. Whilst Kay has to take him out sometimes at night, she tends to do most of the leg work during the day, and I take him out at night and things like that. But it's just the way it has to be to fit in with us. But we can do walks together in the evening and things like that. It's really, really nice to look forward to, again, making the most of what we got. So lots to be positive about when the clock changes. And there's lots of people who suffer from seasonal affective disorder when the clocks change the other way. I used to be, I say this every year, I used to be someone who didn't like it when the clocks changed. Bizarrely, I always felt I had to be doing something in the evening, and I felt if I wasn't, I was losing time when it was daylight. But now I think I've kind of taken the pace off just a little bit, despite all the things I do. I enjoy my running and my activity and sitting down doing things. So really look forward to it now. And it is warmer. We're all a bit fed up of being cold. It's not a nice place to be, is it? So really looking forward to all those things, and just summer coming along. The holiday season starts this weekend. We're getting away. We're going down to the caravan at Kay's parents' home, so we'll get to take the dogs to the seaside for the first time. He's going to love that. Hopefully get him on the beach and give him a good run around. And again, these things just help us sort of recover on a short-term basis, don't they? And go again, because it's always about going again. Whilst I've got all this training to do, it's just ways of breaking it up in the process as well, isn't it? So really looking forward to that. That happens this weekend, so hopefully I can get out and do more DOdaily in the light as well. I've done too many sat inside because it's been too windy or too wet, and I just want to get roaming around, talking away, and I tend to get a lot more miles in walking as well. So really looking forward to making the most of that. Thanks for that question, whoever it was. Question 3, good question, this one from Tom. What do you think of the plans to scrap Soccer AM? If people don't know Soccer AM, it's a Saturday morning magazine show. It's been on for about 20 years, nearly, I think, or just under maybe, on Sky. And to be honest, as a football fan, it's been a big part of my life. It's probably been a big part of many football fans' life. Quirky, funny, do silly things. It's changed a lot in recent years, and in all reality, I think the end has been sort of nigh for a long time with it. It was really, really popular in the 90s. The culture. Is it over 20 years then? I'm not sure how long it's been on, but sort of around the turn of the century. But things were different then. There was allowed to get away with a lot more than they get away with now. So being a young football fan at that time, I found it funny and quirky, and religiously watched it and really, really enjoyed it. But over time, it's changed. Presenters have changed. They can't do some of the things they do. It's got shorter and shorter. So I think it's probably sort of not really stood the test of time. Whilst they're still looking on it, still enjoy certain aspects of it. There's some great sort of presenters still and great features to it. It's just one of those things, isn't it, that you kind of have to remember it for what it was, and think happens with television programs, doesn't it? Some are timeless, some don't really stand up to the test of time. So I think this is one of them. If they could still do some of the things that they used to do, but they can't, it might have lasted a little bit longer. But really, really enjoyed it. Was a massive fan of it back in the day. Used to watch it. It was all part of pre-match routine. And I'm always talking about routines now, aren't I, and how we do things and making the most of it. So we'll miss it in some sense, but again, like I say, don't go out my way to watch it now. I think they kind of done it to death a little bit. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they replace it with, because when they take something like this off the television, which has been a little bit of an institution over time, it does feel sad, doesn't it? I remember sort of children's TV going off from a Saturday morning and then thinking, what do they replace it with? And now every channel you put on, there's a cookery program. We don't need to see it on every channel. And then, they took Grandstand off on a Saturday afternoon as a massive sports fan. What a thing that was. And sports night, midweek, catching up with all the sport. The BBC are buggers for it, really, aren't they? They've made some great programmes. I was talking about the BBC, relating it to Gary Lineker last week. Made some absolutely fantastic programmes over the years. Done sports coverage well. Done documentaries well. Done comedies well. Done drama well. And they just ruin it by sort of messing about with things and not putting money into it. But I suppose, again, it's just a sign of the times and the way television's going. But no, we'll miss it. But again, we get over it, don't we? We go again, just like everything else. Yeah, here's a comment from Dawn. It's nearly 30 years. Love Joy and Owl's Bells were just brilliant. They were the ones that made it. I even watched it, though, before their time. What people might not know is it used to be on a Saturday and Sunday from 7 till 12. And it was just full of football action. And then Tim Lovejoy and Ellen Chamberlain took over, and it went to a Saturday, 9 till 12, and everybody was fixed to the TV in that point. But yeah, absolutely loved it when those guys was on, and they've gone on to do different things as well, haven't they? So yeah, it's one of those. We move on, sign of the times, I guess. Television changing, isn't it? You watch it on demand these days. People, the channels don't really demand when you watch it, do they? You watch it when you want to. So it's just one of those things, I guess. It's something you have to watch current because they're talking about situations. Well, thanks for all those questions. Really got stuck in again tonight. Different things to go at. Again, nothing right or wrong in terms of what people want to ask me. There's a bit there about running and football and bits and bobs. Love sort of getting through that. There's a comment there as well from Eve. Asked me about the football earlier. She was on about, will I be at the Wolves game, when she was telling me, when she was saying hello at the start of the episode. I will be at the football next weekend. I'm really looking forward to that. It's the international break, as I mentioned, at the moment. Not a massive fan of that, although it's nice when you get to go and watch England, and nice watching it on the TV when you're not busy. I do hate it when Forest don't play, and anybody who watches this, who knows me, knows how much I love it. She mentioned the Wolves game, but they've actually announced season ticket prices today at Forest, and I know not everybody knows about this, but again, it's something that's been asked of me. I always encourage people to ask me what they want. What's your opinion about the season card prices for next season? I'm actually pleasantly surprised. These things can be a bit of a bitter pill to swallow when things get increased. But to be fair to Forest, I think they've kept them realistic for a few years. Of course, we was in the Championship and quite unexpectedly got promoted to the Premier League. And while some people scoff at the price hike, we are in the Premier League now. They spent a lot of money on players, too much on some, so I'm not saying that's the only reason that I think they should put them up. I'd like them not to put them up. But the price they've put, I think, a fair. There's still a chance they might get relegated, and even if they got relegated, I think my ticket's gone up about £100, which, considering everything we've watched for years, and then the promotion and the experience we've had, there's a lot of people getting a bit too stressed about Forest in the Premier League and what's happening on the pitch. But this is why I want to enjoy it. We've invested a lot of time, money, energy, heartache in watching them fail. So now I just appreciate what it is and try to enjoy the real highs and kind of be realistic about the lows, get into that mindset that it's only football, but when we're doing well, it's not only football; it's amazing. But yeah, I think the prices are relatively fair. You know, it's hard sometimes when prices go up to totally agree with it, but I can't complain too much. I'm just happy to be there, because I know if I wasn't there, somebody would quite happily snap my seat up. So it's kind of meeting the demand, isn't it? It's probably a fair price if they can sell out at that price. Sometimes football clubs take advantage, you know, and Forest have been guilty of that themselves in many ways. They take advantage of the blind loyalty we offer and that sort of unconditional love once we're hooked. But I think on this one, it's not too bad, you know. Still a bit of a shocker every year when you've got to go and fork out. Some people, I've had this now for years, and I've had this conversation. Some people like, can't believe you spend so much money. I think mine will be 500 and something pound this season. But for 19 games next season, 19 Saturdays, I've got my seat, my entertainment. You know, if you go to the cricket 19 times and you pay on an individual basis next season, or you go to watch England cricket, it'll cost you a lot more money than that. Yes, you get a lot more play and things like that, but this is what I enjoy. It's worth what you're prepared to pay for it, isn't it? And at the end of the day, when you take however much it is out of however much your salary is, it's probably a very small proportion, isn't it? And if you're treating yourself to it, that's what we work hard for. So not getting too bogged down about prices and things. You know, we'd all like a little bit of money. Believe me, I haven't got much of it, so we'd all like a little bit more. But again, we have to be realistic about these things, don't we? I think it's quite fair. Dawn's made a comment here. Look, Forest season cards are still the second lowest in the Premier League, which again is a fair point. I think with the facilities, on the other hand, for everything I've just said, I think with the facilities they offer compared to some of the other clubs in the Premier League and the match day experience, then they should be. You know, I've been to some very, very impressive football stadiums this year, no more so than Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a couple of weeks ago. And again, whilst it's expensive, I believe the pricing's fair. When you go to some stadiums like Forest, you can't get food and drink. You know, it's almost impossible because of the queues and the outdated system. So I think in that sense, you get what you pay for. And I think lots of football clubs could do a lot in terms of matchday experience, a bit like they do in the States with the basketball and the baseball and things like that. Things that last a lot longer. They try and keep the fans sort of entertained and keep going. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. Some great questions there. Gets me talking about the things I enjoy. Really appreciate everybody's comments. Like I said, don't forget to like if you've got anything to comment on what I've said, whether it's agreeing, disagreeing, whether you think it's rubbish or I've done all right. You know, I'd really, really appreciate anything. It just helps support the channel as much as anything. So even the bad comments I'm putting a positive on because they help me sort of turn things around. Comment here from Peter. Not sure I've seen the name on here before, but hi, Peter. He says, hi, Des, hope you're well. Feeling really, really good. Hopefully you've had a chance to hear some of what I said, or if not, you get the chance to listen back. But yeah, feeling really good. Looking forward to more football. See that Forest tree there. So obviously Peter's ears are pricked up when I start talking about season ticket prices. I might look to do some playing around with one or two ideas around content and doing some football content. Of course, it's what I love. You know, do some stuff for myself. Who knows? But that might be something for the future. So there's one or two things I already do for other people, but just a few thoughts flying around there. So keep an eye out for that. But thanks for watching, Peter. Thanks to everybody who's made a comment. Really, really do appreciate it. It just helps me sort of spread this thing, share it around. It's just me babbling away, chatting, try not to be on too long. It's getting up to 40 minutes. Some people will say that's long enough. So before I go, that throwback, please do answer in any way through the comments, live, when it's not live. You know, any of the videos throughout the week, I'll pick them up and read them out next week. Again, the comments help, but it's a chance for you to interact. There's no right or wrong answers. People often say to me, you know, I'd love to comment, but I'm scared. No, don't be scared. Just comment. I'm only going to read it. If you don't want me to put your name to it, that's absolutely fine as well. But based on that question of how I will make the most of the extra daylight when the clock changes at the weekend, how will you make the most of it? Of course, it's an hour less in bed if you've got to be up early. But I'll be away enjoying the coast. You know, me and Kev got a long run plan for Sunday, so we'll probably stay in bed as long as we can and then get out and do that, and hopefully be feeling good later in the day when we can sit down, probably with a beer or two. Hopefully the weather's okay, and we've got a bit more daylight going into the evening. So what will you be making the most of? That'd be great to hear. Read some of those out. Again, just might help people sort of make the most of it themselves. They might think, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll take that forward. If you've got anything to add, about absolutely anything, questions, feedback, response, there's always the email address des@dorunning.org.uk. Get lots of people email me on that, just creating conversation, building up communication lines, people who aren't feeling so good, who might be taking something from it. Lots of emails that I always respond to. Sometimes I take my time, because I want to get it right. If I'm offering up some support, I'm no professional, but I've lived an experience. I've lived an up and down life. I've made no bones about that. I've been really, really honest on this channel. I've got really deep, admitted times when I've been at my lowest ebb and when I've made crappy decisions and done the wrong thing. So absolutely anything goes. If anyone wants to talk to me in that sense, that's fine. If you just want to offer some nice feedback, that's brilliant as well. I love sharing that. I've got no bones about that side of it, especially as I put myself on the line to do this. I understand that there's going to be some criticism come with it. Some people are nervous around it, don't like talking about it. Good so-called good friends will just have nothing to do with it, but it's not here to make anybody feel uncomfortable. It's here to support and encourage and be positive, and just be that sort of release, I guess, from reality, because that's all it is for me. It's just my release. It gives me a chance to process everything to myself. So if anybody wants to sort of get in touch with me, I'm always open for that. Mentioned at the start of the week, something that's really helped me with DOdaily this week, trying to get back into my routines. Saw a couple of people, one of them at the football match, in the pub after the football match, come up to me and said, DOdaily. I never named myself that, by the way. It was that Mr. Dor. But someone said, DOdaily, and he says, it's brilliant what you do, and it helps people who they support. This guy was a teacher. And I thought that was amazing, whilst I know it's not a massive channel, those kind of comments. Then when I was out on Sunday, somebody just ran past me. I haven't got a clue who it was. If you do happen to watch, please let me know who you are. It'd be nice to say thank you properly. Someone ran past me and said, keep the inspirational videos coming. I don't see them all as that. I'm realistic enough to know I'd love to be a little bit more articulate and get the message across as they are up here. But of course, it does work for some people, and that's all that matters. I always said, if it works for one person, that's what it's all about. So, really appreciate anybody who wants to get in touch in any shape or form. That social media is there, the email's there, the videos and the comments are there throughout the week. Please do check back if you want to add substance to some of the things I've said. It all makes sense if you watch it. I know on a Thursday it's quite long, but throughout the week it's 10-15 minutes of me just sort of going through things and trying to be positive. The next session, which I'm always really, really positive about, is Wake Up to Walk. That'll be available tomorrow evening from 7. I'll be out bright and early. It's absolutely chucking it down now. So I've said it for the last few weeks, but I'm absolutely determined to get out, feeling as good as I am, knowing I've got over those hurdles this week, got over that rest very quickly. Those could turn into extra days. Got out tonight, so my determination, because I'm doing the things I want to do, starting to show through. And when determination's there to be the best version of yourself, because that's all we can be, it feels like you can do anything. So I'll be up early in the morning, looking forward to the weekend, hopefully showing you, setting the scene somewhere worthwhile, probably around the river, especially if it's wet. but making the most of it. And like I said before, attacking the day, feeling like I'm getting a head start on the weekend and being really positive as we finish another one. Hopefully it's been good to you. Check back in tomorrow for that last episode. Thanks for watching. Once again, please like, subscribe, comment. I'd really, really appreciate it. Just doing it.